Hey, welcome to my new YouTube channel. My name is Nick, and today I'm going to be showing you how to turn a vintage camera into a lamp. So some other examples of things that I've turned into lamps is a old radio, and this knob is actually the old on and off switch for the radio. Got an old blender here, turn that into a lamp. An old fan, I'm actually going to be turning that into a lamp as well. And last but not least, a vintage hairdryer. I'm going to be turning this into a lamp on my next episode, so stay tuned. I'm actually going to be using the on and off switch on this to turn the lamp on and off. So I actually picked this up on eBay. So some other things or places that I pick stuff up at is thrift stores, antique malls, garage sales. Just all over. People, you'd be surprised at what people are getting rid of. Do me a favor and hit the like button and also subscribe to my channel. You'd be doing me a big favor, as this is a brand new YouTube channel and I'm trying to get it off the ground. So let's go ahead and let's just jump into it, and I'm going to be showing you what tools you'll need for the trade. Okay, so the components that you'll need to turn this vintage camera into a lamp, I'll go ahead and discuss right now. The material that this is made out of is actually just cardboard, which is going to be a lot easier to drill into versus something that's metal like the blender. So when you're looking at what items to possibly turn into a lamp, through trial and error, just make sure that you realize what type of material that it's made out of. So for the three components that will actually turn this into a lamp, is you've got your electrical socket. I like to put an on and off switch on the actual object itself, or you can go ahead and put an on and off switch just on the cord itself. And then you'll need the cord, and I like to buy them with the plug already attached. So these three items I picked up at Lowe's. You can also shop at Home Depot as well too. I just have had a lot more success with these electrical items at Lowe's. So you'll need a drill, and I have an 1.5" drill bit to actually drill the hole for the electrical socket. You'll also need drill bits for putting a hole for the electrical wire, as well as a hole for the switch as well. You'll need some pliers. I like using needle nose pliers. You'll need some wire strippers. You'll need some screwdrivers. I always like to have the flathead and the Phillips. Some electrical nuts, wire nuts. These are just to twist the wires together. And then once I've done that, I like using electrical tape just to ensure that it's not going to go anywhere. I picked up some rubber seal rings. I like to put that on the outside for the wire, just to make sure that nothing's getting pinched, especially if it's a metal item. You really don't want that metal rubbing up against the wire. So you don't have to do this, but I like going that extra step. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do, as you can imagine, this thing is pretty old, so you're going to want to clean it. I just cleaned it with some Simple Green, or you can use any cleaning supply and just a paper towel. And next, what I like to do is to measure out the center point for the outlet, and then the center point for the switch, as well as the center point for the electrical cord. One of the big things too, before you dive into this, is to just kind of give it a once over and look at what some possible obstructions are going to be. I've made some camera lamps with holes through the aperture right here, but there is a lot of metal pieces and metal components in that, so it is a little bit more difficult to do. So today what I'm going to just be doing is drilling just through the outer shell, which is just cardboard. This one is lucky because it just has this little knob right here to open this up. So you can see that there's nothing in here. So what I'm going to be doing is drilling straight down through, so that way I can put all my components in here and hide this. So let's go ahead. Again, an 1.5" drill bit. Get that center point. All right, we've broken through the top layer. I'll go ahead and take this out. Just kind of remove that. Go through the second layer. I'm just going to use this drill bit just to kind of prop up. There's nothing supporting this, so I'm just going to kind of put a little tension on it. All right, we've broken through another layer. Again, this is just cardboard. And we've got one more layer to go. I'm almost through it already, though. I'm actually just gonna rip this out. It doesn't need to be perfect. Really, the only thing that... Oh. This knob right here is gonna actually release this. So you can actually see the reason I was having difficulty is because there's a little metal piece right there. What I can do is just take some pliers and remove that. As you can see, a lot of it's just trial and error. Perfect. One thing I could have done is the hole is actually hitting this metal. One mistake I guess I made is if you could have just moved it over just a little bit more, you wouldn't have had that metal obstruction right there. Gonna go ahead and put this back in here. All right, so now we have the electrical socket. I'm just gonna spin the top off of this. And I'm gonna be coming through the bottom of this. I guess I can remove this. And just... You won't have to do this if you had better planning, but I'm just going to go ahead and snip. These are just wire cut or metal cutters. I wish I could say that it was super easy every time, but especially when you're dealing with an object that's not supposed to be a lamp, you're going to run into some potential roadblocks. Okay, so now that I have that removed, it's going to be a little bit easier for me to get this going. Really, this is just cardboard. I'm going to bend this back just so you can see that hole right there. I think it's actually a good thing that you are seeing that there's going to be some obstacles. So I feel really confident with that the hole is big enough for me to fit this socket in here. Which, so far, so good. And there you have it. There is, I'm going to straighten that out, but there is your top. I'm going to go ahead and put this ring on top, and that's going to actually tighten it. See how good that looks? And a lot of those imperfections were hidden by that ring. All right, so now we have the socket in place. Guess I can go ahead and drill 2 holes. So the first hole is going to be for the electrical socket, or sorry, for the electrical cord. For this one, I will be using a 5/16 of a drill bit. You don't want to go too big with this. All right, here's the first one. I'm going to be drilling through metal, so that is going to be rather, I guess, an obstacle. Just going to trim off that last bit. Kind of see that there's some metal right there, and kind of what I was saying before is I like to use these little rubber O-rings so that way that none of the metal gets into the cord. You know what I'm actually going to do is make this just a little bit bigger of a hole. That way I have room for my O-ring. And you want to have a good grasp on this, because if you don't, it's just going to keep spinning. I'm going to trim off that just a little right there. And see about that O-ring. And next going to be the hole for the electrical switch. I want to make sure these wires are out of the way. One thing I could have done is done this afterwards, so that way this actually sits flat. Got another metal shaving right there. Knock that off. And we've got our switch here. Trying to make this big enough for this switch to fit in here. Probably could have gone bigger than actually bigger than 3/8 as well. Nope, that fits perfectly. Okay, so I've got one ring on one side. I'm going to put another ring on the other side. All right, so now we've got the switch. It's going to be your on and off switch right here. See that rubber O-ring right there? That's just going to protect the metal from hitting the electrical cord. take this. It actually fits very nicely. I'm gonna go ahead and trim up some of these wires. Say do about a half inch or so. I'm going to pull this a little bit closer, or a little further away to make a little bit more room for myself. I'm going to make an underwriter's knot. So this loop goes behind this. This one goes behind this other one, and do like that. There you go, you've got your knot. So really what that does is just to prevent that from pulling out. All right, so you've got two terminals on your switch here. You take one of the terminals here. I'm gonna take this one and put it to the white. Gonna wrap this around. Take this. You want to twist it until it actually twists over itself. There you go. So now you have 4 wires. So you have one on each end. So this, for the electrical cord, is going to go to the other connection for the socket, and then the other one is going to go to the other end of the switch. All right, so before I take these off, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna plug this in. It's very, very important that you don't have this plugged in before you do anything. You are playing with electricity and making sure that, that you're safe with doing this. So again, before I take these off, I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in. This is a cool little bulb that I'm gonna be using. So you can buy these online. And there you have it. I'm gonna go ahead and take these off. That's your on and off switch right there. Go ahead and unplug this again. Just doing electrical tape around here. I'm gonna go ahead and tuck these in here like this. Luckily, there's enough cavity in here that I can do all this. And then this is gonna go in like that. If you really wanted to, what you could do, and probably what I'm gonna do, just take some super glue, and I'm just gonna put this around the edge. This is just going to ensure that no one tampers with it or opens anything up. And there you have it. there you have it. We've now made a camera into a lamp. You'll notice that and you've got your on and off switch. Thanks for joining me today, and stay tuned for my next episode where you'll see me turn a vintage hairdryer into a lamp. Thank you again. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe.